Well, as you'll recall, last year we did quite a bit of pruning on our peaches and apples, and again, it's time to do that this year. Now our little peach here, which is going into its third season, actually doesn't need a whole lot of pruning. Basically, again, we want to remove the 3 Ds, anything dead, diseased, or damaged, and you'll notice that we've got a few dead twigs here that I want to cut off. So I'm just going to go ahead and take care of those right now. That's usually the easiest part to see, is anything that's dead. Get that on off of there. And I've got a couple more over here that we need to take care of. Okay, now I've got a damaged twig here. I think the deer have been through and nibbled on it. So I'm going to cut that back to an outside bud, again with the cut slanting away from that bud, and that way that'll sprout toward the outside of the tree and not back toward the end. Now we've gotten rid of any of our dead and damaged wood, and we don't really have any disease in this tree, so now we need to do a little bit of structural pruning. Now, there's not much of that to do. We've got our nice scaffold set here, but we have a couple of twigs here. These are very good fruiting twigs. However, this twig is slanting back towards the middle of the tree and will tend to shade out anything around it. So I'm going to remove that twig before it gets too big, because it's much nicer to make a pruning cut with a pair of hand pruners than it is to have to come back and saw it off later. Now we also have a twig here that is crossing another, and what I'm going to do here, instead of removing that totally, because it's got some good fruit wood down here, is just to cut that back to one of the buds, and we'll leave that for some fruit this year and see if it gets weighted down with some fruit and goes ahead and grows out this way. If not, we'll come back next year and cut that one off too. Now we've got a couple of branches here that tend to be wanting to go straight up and look sucker-like, and so what I'm going to do is take this back down about level with its neighboring branch over here, like this, and get a good V structure coming out this way. Now I've got another one on this side that basically I just need to tip back like that. Well, that pretty much does it for our peach tree, and that wasn't very much pruning at all. However, we do have an apple tree that's going to take some more pruning, so let's go take a look at that. Well, as you'll recall, last year we had quite a pruning project with our apple, and basically we pruned a lot of wood out of this tree. Now this year we're continuing that project, and remember I told you that it can take 2 to 3 years to get that apple back down to size. Now basically what we were taking care of is that our outside branches here had become taller than our central leader here in the middle, and so we were working on getting those back down lower so that we can get some more light into the center of our tree. Now what happens though when you prune a lot of wood out of an apple is you get a lot of sucker growth, and that's what we've got here. And this is what we're going to need to take care of this year. We need to take these suckers off here at the main branch, and then some of these suckers back here, I'm going to tip these back and see if we can get some fruiting wood out of this in the next couple of years. Now the other project that we need to finish is to get these outside branches to where they are lower than our central leader, and so that's the other thing that I'm going to tackle. And basically this year I don't have to use the pruning saw, I can just use my pruner, so it'll be an easier pruning job. So I guess I better get started. Well, as you can tell, there's not nearly the amount of wood pruned out of this tree that we had out of it last year, and that's a good thing, because actually you only want to prune about 10% of the wood out of an apple per year. Well, now we've got it down to a workable size. We're going to have our fruit level moving back down closer to the ground so that we don't have to use a ladder all the time to harvest and also to maintain our tree. Now we probably won't have a good fruit crop of apples this year. However, by next year, and especially the year after that, we'll have a nice load of apples because we've opened this up and we can get some good sun to our apples.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.